Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone, where we are continuing with our discussion of the criminal case styled as State of Idaho versus Brian C. Kohberger. We've been giving our opinions on this case. We've been discussing the court filings and so forth. And today, what I would like to do is to direct your attention to one of the court filings, specifically one that was entered on the docket on February 9th, 2023. It was filed by attorney Jay Logston on behalf of the defense. Mr. Logston is cited as the chief deputy litigation attorney in this filing. He is assisting attorney Ann Taylor, who is the chief defense counsel, both of whom represent Mr. Kohberger. And in this filing, Mr. Logston states, he entitles it, Objection to Motion to Appeal, Amend, and or Clarify Non-Dissemination Order. And he states here that he is making this appearance on behalf of Brian C. Kohberger and hereby objects to the motion to appeal, amend, and or clarify non-dissemination order filed by Shannon Gray as counsel for the Goncalves family. And if you listen to an episode earlier in the series, and if you have not, I encourage that you do, we talked about Mr. Gray's appearance in this case as private attorney to the Goncalves family, and that he had on the same day filed a motion asking for this relief, asking for an appeal to amend, enter, clarify the non-dissemination order that was entered by the court in January of 2023. So here we see on February 9th, 2023, the defense is stepping forward, stating that they object. They're basically asking the court to deny Mr. Gray's motion. They find that the non-dissemination order is proper, that it should remain in place, that it was put in place for a very good reason. And they argue here that the court's order is not violative of Mr. Gray's First Amendment rights. That was one of the arguments that he stated. He stated in his motion that this order infringed on his constitutionally protected First Amendment right to free speech, that he should be able to go out and to discuss this case, but that he feels he's bound, that there's a prior restraint that has infringed on his ability to do so by virtue of the order that was entered, the non-dissemination order. Page 2 and beyond in this motion, in this memorandum of law, we see Mr. Logston on behalf of Mr. Kohberger talking about the First Amendment, stating that it prohibits laws, quote, abridging the freedom of speech, quote, while the Sixth Amendment, which is another amendment to the United States Constitution contained in the Bill of Rights, guarantees a criminal defendant, quote, the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury, end of quote. If you read the rest of the filing of the 9th of February 2023, you will see Mr. Logston go on and make more argument, cite more supporting case law in support of his position, the defense's position, that this motion should be denied. And you will see here that the defense is basically joining in the prosecution, who had filed two items, as we reviewed in our last podcast on the 8th of February, also urging the court to deny this motion. So we see here a rare time where both the prosecution and the defense are on the same side on a legal issue in this case. Later on in this series, we will discuss the hearing that occurred when all three sides, when the defense, when the prosecution, and when Mr. Gray, on behalf of the Goncalves family, stood up in open court and argued their respective positions on the non-dissemination order, but that will not be for several months down the line. If you would like to review these documents, I have provided a description to this podcast, a link where you can go and to pull down the documents so that you can review them for yourself. Until then, until our next episode, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us today.